And real life. Hey everyone, welcome to the Firehose Project info session. I'm Marco, I'm the CEO, one of the founders, and I'll run you through our info session today. Let's see, what do we want to go through today? So I think I first want to talk about why we're doing this, why we're doing the Firehose Project, why we're teaching people software engineering, what's that all about? And then I also want to talk about the intro course, our 2-week free introduction to coding and why it's important to go through that and how that works. And then I go into the full program. What's that all about? And then I also want to talk about the intro course, our 2-week. So while my other video is audio playing, I'm going to keep going here. So talk about the intro course, and then we also going to talk about the full program. I'll talk about the web applications that you guys are building while you're in the program. I'll talk about why algorithms matter and data structures, what that is all about and why we're teaching that. And I also want to talk about the Agile team project that we have you guys on and why that matters so much, and talk a little bit about what matters in the job application process and how our program tailors you to go towards that route of finding a job as a software engineer web developer. And then obviously have a bit of time for some questions, so I'm going to do that as well at the end. So let's go in. Why are we doing this, right? So software engineering, web development, is it really in demand profession? Those skills are sought after by tech companies, startups. Everyone seems to be going towards tech, and there's like millions of unfilled jobs in the US alone and worldwide even more. So that's why it makes so much sense learning that. But I think what drives me or drives our students even more is that's extremely rewarding to build something that helps other people improve their lives, that makes people become better, right? We're building an online learning platform here, other people building something that touches people on all kinds of different levels, all the apps that you're building every day. We use technology every single day, and it makes our lives better. And that's why this is so fulfilling, because there's something really special about building something and shipping it and having people use it. Let's jump in and talk about the intro course, right? The first 2 weeks are on us, they're free. It's a way for you guys to get familiar with HTML, CSS, build a simple splash page, landing page, host that on a server, and then dive into Ruby and the Ruby programming language and start writing your first scripts, execute them, run them in the server, and then also learning how to refactor your code. We have consistent code reviews, so you can go in and actually submit your code and we look through them and we give you the thumbs up, we give you feedback, how to improve it. And we also have the forum where you can go in and consistently get help. So if you get stuck, we never want you to really spin your wheels for very long. Take a screenshot of your error message, post it in the forum, or ask your question there. We're there to help you. Once you went through all that, right? Once we accepted your code, said, hey, thumbs up, that's really good, then we accept you into the full program. So at that point, you can choose your starting date. It could be several weeks, could be immediately the Monday after. We start new students every Monday. It could be several weeks down the line or even months. Right? Students who got accepted into the full program and then they start a few months down the line. So that is really flexible. That's up to you, what works for your schedule and when you want to start the 22 weeks of the full program. So after you accept that, you start the full program, we start having you build web applications, we start going into algorithm training and data structures, and we also start going into having you work as part of an Agile team project. So let's dive into the web applications first that we're building. So we're starting out with something simple. It's a simple quote generation app. We're taking a quote, we're putting it in a form, we're storing that in a database, and we're randomly pulling quotes out of our database and displaying it onto the screen that the user sees. Right? Randomly pulling different ones, so it's always interesting, and we're given a nice little drop-down modal where the page visitor can insert their quote, and it gets saved in the database. We wrap that all into a mobile-first design, so it looks good on all devices, and have you build that and ship that live to a server within usually the first few days. Right? First week, definitely done. That gives you really good insight and overview over Ruby and Rails and servers and GitHub. You get basically your feet wet really fast. Then we crank it up a little bit and have you build a Yelp clone. A Yelp clone is a lot more challenging and it's a lot more hard to build because it has a lot more features, right? We're thinking about Google Map API integration, right? Taking an address, transforming that address into longitude and latitude coordinates, taking those and then putting it through the Google Map API to get a pin on the map so we can map whatever we want. Most people do pizza places, other people do skate parks, other people do rock climbing spots, whatever it is that you want to map, you can map there. And then obviously we add more features to that, right? So we have user comments, we have star ratings, we have automated email notifications based on comments that people are leaving. Also building a user dashboard so you can see if you're signing up and you're adding your skate park or your pizza place to it, how many comments have you received? How many skate parks have you actually listed? Then we obviously do user authentication, log in, log out, user registration, right? So it's a fully functional web application, and we ship that in a couple of weeks with you. Next, we go up and we make it a bit more complex. We build a two-sided marketplace. Two-sided marketplace, there's usually two different user roles. For our example, we're using teachers, instructors, and students. Students can come and purchase courses that instructors are building. And when I say purchase, that's kind of the key word here, because we actually are able to accept credit card payments, and we built the whole credit card processing system with an API, the Stripe API, into our platform, right? It teaches you a lot about the payment APIs, but also about a more complex application, because there's multiple user levels involved here, right? Again, there's instructors and students, and we need to go and make sure our database is solid enough to handle all of that. Next up, we go into test-driven development. I often get asked the question, what is test-driven development? Test-driven development is the way of writing automated software tests to make sure that our features are working. That's testing. Now, test-driven development is writing tests first, seeing the test fail, and then building the feature, and then seeing the test pass afterwards. And that way we know at any given moment that all of our features are working and no part of our application is broken. Why we're doing that is so we don't have to go and click around on any single feature that we ship live and click around manually to see, is it working, is it not working? We want to have confidence in our application. That's the industry standard, test-driven development, and writing software tests consistently while we're coding as well. For all the people who are interested, which framework we're using RSpec, that's another industry standard, and together with our 90+ mentors that we're having, we decided that's the best way forward because most people use that. And at the end of the day, it's about learning how to write tests and learning how to do test-driven development, rather than like figuring out the tools and the fine little details between them. We have another app that we're building. That's a pure JavaScript app, and that is because by now you have a really solid understanding of Ruby and how to write Ruby code. And then on top of that, we want to build JavaScript knowledge, right? And that's important because JavaScript is used all the time in a lot of applications. So knowing how to build an app from scratch will really deep dive into that knowledge that you need to understand JavaScript and actually use it either inside a Ruby on Rails web application or standalone building your own app. Now, these are all the web apps that we're building, but we're also going into algorithms. And we're starting out with algorithms in week 2 or 3. So really early, we start with simple ones. And they're all meant for you to perfect and master your Ruby programming skills and later your JavaScript skills. And that is because it's really important that you're able to solve complex problems through code. Because once you're professional developers, software engineers, you're going to do that any given day. You always have a challenge and you just solve it through code. And these algorithm challenges, the entire challenges that we have, teach you how to think and work like a developer in the real world. And it's really important to grasp that. That's why we're putting a lot of emphasis on it. So while you're building out all these web applications, and they're really cool because you can share them with your friends and you build something, you ship it live, we're also running you in parallel through our algorithm training, because that is what's going to give you the foundation. And that's what we're going to do next when we start you in an agile team project, right? If you're thinking about the real world, how a web application is built, they're built by amazing teams. And we want you to get that experience of working together with an amazing team and working in a real world web development, software engineering workflow while you're still in our program. So we're going to have you matched, you're going to be matched up with students, and there's going to be a VP of engineering, which is one of our mentors, is guiding you through how to build a web application as part of a team. And that team of students is going to build a chess game inside of a Rails application. Now, why did we pick a chess game? We picked the chess game because it is really complex to build. If you're just thinking about all the rules that we need to enforce during a chess game, if you're thinking about all the special cases that need to happen there, how do we check for checkmate? How do we make the castling move work? It's really complex, and that complexity makes it such a good app to build, because it really impresses technical hiring managers once you're looking for a job, right? So talking about the workflow, what are we doing there, right? There's going to be stand-up meetings, there's going to be pair programming happening, there's going to be consistent code reviews. We're going to use GitHub the way teams use it on the job. And you're going to have to use your algorithm knowledge and your Ruby knowledge and your Rails knowledge to pack it, and some JavaScript as well, and pack it all together to build that application as a team. So you experience all the things that go wrong while working together with other developers. So that's a rich experience for you to talk about during any interview if you're looking for a job. But you also going to learn how to build something that's way more complex than, for example, a Yelp or a two-sided marketplace. These are comparably easier apps to build than building a chess game that has so much logic and so many algorithms under the hood to function properly. Now, that usually takes our students about 8 weeks. And we meet every single week with an additional mentor, the VP of Engineering that I just meant, on top of your one-on-one mentorship sessions. So that Agile Team Project segues right into our job training, right? The job training basically starts in week 2 or 3 when we start you going through the algorithm training. But what matters the most by far is when you're in a technical interview, when you present yourself, when you're reaching out to employers, is how well is your coding portfolio structured? And can you point to something where it's like, hey, here's where I worked in a team, just like what you do every single day. Here's how I wrote my tests, right? My software tests. Test-driven development comes in. Here's how I went through the code review. Here's how I improved, refactored my code after I've gotten reviews from my team. And here's how I improved everything. And here's what was accepted at the end. And if you show these flows, these agile flows, and all the tools that you use, it's really easy for me as a hiring manager, or any VP of engineering, technical hiring manager, to imagine you as a developer on their team. And that's really what is the difference there. If you have that group working experience and building something complex like it's done in the real world, you really have a leg up. And that's what we're pushing, why we're pushing the Agile Team Project so hard. It's difficult to pull off. Lots of organization goes in, but it pays huge dividends for you to be ready to jump on any team and have that high impact in your first few days, already while being on a team where other people still don't even know themselves in an existing team. So crucial to be on that team project. And then obviously we have all the things as well. It's like, how do you do your resume? How do you present yourself? What about a technical interview? What kind of questions are going to be asked, right? All that training goes in as well. I think that is pretty much it in terms of the program that we're having from all the web application algorithm training, Agile Team Project, and the whole job support and the training and how we prepare you to be ready to actually make that jump and switch into a new career. What I also want to quickly touch on is why we're different, right? So there's a lot of programs out there, and most of you probably researched, came to us, looked at other ones. I think there's kind of 3 things why we're different. And the first one is the depth of the curriculum, right? Nobody really teaches algorithms. Nobody really has an Agile Team Project where a VP of engineering actually guides you through, and you also have your one-on-one mentorship sessions, right? And that's the next point. Like, our mentors are all senior web developers, senior software engineers that take you under the wing and help you in each mentor session to reach the next level, right? Be it they pair program with you, they explain a complex algorithm, they help you in a test-driven development, they help you while you're on the Agile Team Project to make sure you get the assigned task, the feature that you're building, shipped on time, and in a way that is going to be accepted, or they help you with the feedback and how to refactor your code. And then last, but I guess not least, is our community, right? Community is worldwide. We have students across the world, across multiple time zones, coding with us. Europe, all the way to Asia. We have some people in Hawaii, we have people in Africa. It's amazing to see how many people learning with us, and then what they actually doing, right? We have several open source projects that our community maintains, right? These are projects, web applications that our students are building together and that are used by our students. Then we have lightning talks. These are regular developer talks that our students are giving to about technical topics. This is anything from developer software engineering tools down to how they landed a job, how their job interview process worked, right? So any type of help, technical talks or advice talks where our students come together in a virtual conference and hold them, and then the recordings are always shared with all the other students who couldn't make it live to that event. And then the other thing is our Slack channel. Our students always help each other out, always active day and night. There's always chatter going on our Slack channel. So I think that is pretty much the info session for now that I wanted to cover, talk to you guys about why we're different, explain the program a little bit, the web application we're building, why the Agile Team Project and the algorithm training matters so much. If you have any other question, I'll quickly check if I have some questions, because sometimes I get some in via email. Let me quickly check on that, see what we have here. Didn't get any here. Check on the YouTube page. I think we're all good. Guys, this was super good. If you want to get started, go to thefirehoseproject.com, put your email into the form, sign you up, start in the intro course, have 2 weeks coding on us, get your code reviewed, submit your code. That's the best way to starting. If you're already in the intro course, keep coding, make it to the end, and get all your code reviewed. Make sure you submit that, because that's when we really can go in and look at your code, give you feedback, tell you what you could refactor, how you could improve. Other than that, that was super awesome. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm also going to make sure to send the recording out to everyone who couldn't attempt. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it after the fact. If not, you guys should all have my email address. Go to the website. You can always reach us that way. And keep coding. Stay awesome. And I'll talk to you next time. Bye now.